Okay, we're back. Now, what we're going to do here is, in the last videos I was doing, I did 2 rows of 20 crochets here in a spiral, but in a slip stitch chain configuration. What I'm going to start doing is a spiral configuration where you just have it continuous, but you got to keep track of your stitches, and that's where the scrap yarn really comes into being. So let's make sure I got 20 still, because when I'm doing rounds, I've done quite a few stuffed animals where I'll be like, okay, I need 36 stitches here, and I turn out to have 37 or 35, and then I'm trying to figure out, because you're doing increases, decreases here and there, and it's just trying to keep track. So having a scrap piece of yarn really helps you when you're doing spiral work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm going to say that's 20 anyways. Yeah, that's 20. All right. So every row we're going to do is going to be 20 stitches still. But we're going to be doing it in a spiral, not a slip stitch chain. So you have to kind of keep track of where your last stitch is in your project so you don't go over that by accident, because it's going to tie it in. Now, to do the spiral, instead of doing a slip stitch chain type like what we had done in the other video, we're just literally going to do a single crochet. That's it. Just a single crochet into the next stitch, just like this. We do a single crochet, and that's it. And then we come in here, we're going to do our 20. Get 20 in here. So, I mean, people don't need to use a scrap piece of chain. They can use a stitch marker or something else, or nothing at all if you're that good. I'm not. I get lost, especially when I'm doing some projects for stuffed animal stuff, that I get hopelessly lost. But yeah, again, I'm making these videos to help a person in our Raining Crafts and Dogs Discord server. So, you know, and we welcome all kinds. It's not just for crochet, it's for artwork and, you know, like 3D printing and a little bit of metalworking, not too much. I haven't been seeing that. A lot of sewers, you know, for people that like to make clothes or plushies, quilting, that's a big one. People love to quilt on there. Some do some sort of woodworking, I think, or they were doing something about 3D printing and woodworking or something. I wasn't quite paying attention to that stuff, but they have all sorts of crafts and hobbies that are going on there. Some jewelry making, some bookmarkings, and a lot of sticker printing, you know, circuit 3D the circuit stuff, I think it's called, but where they make stickers and stuff like that. So all right, so this stitch right here, I should have 19 right now. This is going to be my last stitch. This would be 20. But if you kind of take a look here, see how it kind of goes just up? Now here's the last stitch, and it's just going up, 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 with no, it's not neat, where it's just going beep, beep, you know, up like a staircase, or... Here we go. There's some pens from Christmas when I was wrapping presents here. You know, you got your staircase here where you're going to be going up, up, and then that. That would be like a slip stitch chain. So you're on the next level. What we're doing with the spiral instead is you'll have your final stitch. You have your final stitch here, right here where the hook is. And then when you go to do your next one, grab another hook. You're literally going to be, let's get that into the shot. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Go this way. So you have your final thing, and you're going to be doing just literally a single strip into the next stitch. I know this is a really horrible example because I got 2 crochet hooks and 2 pens, and I'm using on the 3rd crochet hook to show, but you can kind of see it. Instead of the stitch going like this, to connect from one stitch to the next row, you know, from the one row up to the next where it's a square kind of thing. You're going to be just going up a gentle slope, and it's a spiral, so it's going to just go over and over and over again. So we'll put that there, and get those out of the way because I don't have to sign cards right now. So now what we want to do is we're going to put our last crochet hook in. Then you want to count, just because I count the rows when I'm doing this kind of stuff to make sure, at least for the first few times, especially when you're doing weird stuff. So you got your crochet, and kind of see how this end, okay, kind of see how this row is taller than that row, because that's what's going to happen with the spiral. You know, you're getting taller and taller as you go. So you're going to see that this is going to increase, but you can now just go into this once you mark your stitch for where your last stitch is, because this is the last stitch in that row. So you want to mark your row so you know where you're starting for the next one. So, because I think you can figure out first and last, you know, 2 stitches. If you have the yarn there, it's like, yeah, okay, that was my last stitch. Oh, here's the next the next starting one right there, the next one like normal. So you stick it in there and you just start doing your crochet again. You get your 20 on there. Again, I'm not going to go over how to do crocheting for single crochets, double crochets. I have other videos for that, but I am doing single crochet just for this particular example. So, we'll get our 20 stitches like normal. And then so yeah, got a lot of dead air here because I'm like, well, what do you want me to say? You know, I'm doing a circle. Wow, geez, you know. And then let's see. And you can do increases, you can do decreases. In some of the patterns I work, you do those things on a spiral. You know, for if you have to increase in size or decrease in size. So I'm at the last stitch according to where my yarn is. I pull out, I'm not going to count because I shouldn't need to. But you can kind of see, once again, how right here, this, you know, you start here, you go all the way around, and you're going around in circles, and then it's just a little bit taller. So that's how to do that. And kind of see right here, see? It's hard to see. We've done 2 rows, but if you look right here, see how it's just a teeny bit messier right here in these areas. Again, this is not the perfect yarn. I didn't think all my clever plan all the way through here for doing this because it's variegated. But also, then again, if you're doing, it'll be more pronounced on single color yarn. If you're doing a variegated, you could also consider it kind of a benefit because you're not going to be able to see a seam as much. Of course, we only did 3 rows or 2 rows, but you can see a seam starting right here, whereas here, right here, there isn't one. It's just gone up by a couple spirals right there. So we'll do a 3rd row just so you kind of get an idea. Yeah, move your yarn up once more. And I do this all the time. You know, you just stick your yarn in there, and I've had yarn fray on me, and I'm like, whatever. You know, it's still working. It's a scrap piece of yarn. That's why I say use scrap. But make sure it's a contrasting color, because one time I was trying to do a green yarn or a blue yarn or something, and I was using a blue yarn, a slightly different shade, a slight difference of blue, and I kept pulling out my marker yarn instead of my actual stitches, and I was like, oh man, come on, really? So I finally cut another piece, you know, just really quick from a pile of other garbage yarn I had, and use that for contrasting so I would stop pulling it out. So if you're going to do a project and you're going to use a scrap yarn method like what I like to use, make sure the yarn contrasts with your thing, so you know you're not going to accidentally pull it out when you're doing your stitch that's like, you know, increase here, increase there, decrease heat, you know, blah, 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 blah. So there's that. And then, and you can actually change back to going back to a single crochet, a slip stitch chain if you wanted to. I've done that before because sometimes some patterns will call for that, where you need to do a spiral for a few things. Or if you want to, if something calls for doing a spiral and you don't think you're good enough to do that yet and keep track of it properly, slip stitch chain it. Yeah, you'll get a seam, but they're both interchangeable. You can do it, and I've done it where I had to do a project and it called for a spiral and I was just getting confused and horrified, and I didn't care if it had a seam for the particular project I was doing on, and it was just the same. I just went back to doing a slip stitch chain method, like so. Right here we'll mark it, and then all you have to do a slip stitch chain is literally do that into the see, look, see, that's what I do, is I pull out the wrong yarn because I was getting too yappy. So we'll do that. I'm trying to be clever here, and of course that's always a dangerous thing. But if you're wondering, you know, like, oh no, how do I go back to a slip stitch chain? It's easy. You just slip stitch into it. You slip stitch and chain. That's it. You just go into the next stitch, do that, and then you slip stitch into it, or you crochet into it like normal. And then you just start doing your crochets again. So, and you'll get that seam going again, so just be warned, you will get a seam if you did it that way. But here you go again. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there's really anything for this particular video, so I'll finish out this row. And if you want to, you can also, let's see, yeah, those will be better for other videos. But here you go. So you did that, you know, we swapped out to slip stitch chain again. But if you wanted to go back to a spiral, well, guess what? You can do that too. It's not horribly complicated. So here we are at the last stitch. Yeah, slip stitch. Or you crochet your stitch, pull that out, you find your stitch, shove your hook in, grab your yarn, there you go, and there it is. And we'll count just to make sure, because I know I haven't lost any, but I'm sure I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I got 20. So you can kind of see how things are going. And you can, oh, it's not that bad. How things are working. And there's the start of the seam right there, I think. I think it's right there. So, but, you know, it just depends on how you're doing it. And I hope that helps people out. In case they need it for whatever reason, and you know, there you go. And well, I don't know what else to say. It's just a couple videos on how to start doing spirals if you're wanting to get into stuffed animals, and that's just a couple ways of how to do slip stitch chains or just a spiral. All right, talk to you later. Bye.